Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Friday, April 15th, the day before Good Friday. Praise the Lord. In this episode, City shithouse Atleti. Yes. Real Madrid out oligarch Chelsea and West Ham advance. Wow. Oh, and Villareal, also important. But first,
awesome.
Mike, what was your favorite of the football fancy of midweek fixtures?
What
It was so much.
A couple of days. Everybody take a deep breath. My favorite was definitely Real Madrid 5, Chelsea 4 on aggregate. Real Madrid go through. But literally every game in Champions League, I think pretty much every game in Europa League had a talking point. To the point where we're going to have to probably cut this show short. Wow. Yeah. Looking at literally every one of those 8 games. And oh, by the way, we've got the FA Cup semifinals between Manchester City and Liverpool again on Sunday. So, strap in, folks. Where do you want to start?
I'm going to do the scores. I'm going to do Champions League scores, Europa League scores, and the conference scores. I'm getting crazy.
All right.
Let's go first.
Let's do it.
Chelsea. Wait. I've got the wrong dates. Oh, my God. I almost did the first legs. First, Tuesday, Real Madrid 2, Chelsea 3. Chelsea almost complete the comeback, but then the oligarch champions of football, Real Madrid, find a way. They're dead and buried. A goal gets called back by Alonso, and they come back to life. Then plucky Villareal, home of ceramics, home of oranges, home of Unai Emery and 50,000 people, a small town, really a small town, smaller than Burnley. Let's just put that into context. Defeat over 2 legs, Bayern Munich in a 1-1 draw, scoring the equalizer in the 85th minute to destroy Bayern's season.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Luke and the Death Star at the end.
Amazing. Then Wednesday, playing simultaneously, Liverpool have a little bit of a scare, but they literally rest their players. I mean, let's just put it this way. James Milner was playing in this game, and Van Dijk wasn't. They draw 3-3 against Benfica. Darwin Núñez adds another $20 million to his transfer fee. And then, the less we talk about this game, the more we talk about it. But Atletico 0, Manchester City 0, a war of attrition.
Oh my God.
Blood on the tracks, guys getting sent off, 10 minutes of extra time, pulling hair, people getting called cunts, and police. That was a 0-0 game. So that one's amazing. On to the Europa, where it gets even crazier. Eintracht Frankfurt defeat Barcelona over 2 legs, 4-3 on aggregate. They take over the Camp Nou with 30,000 fans and make the Camp Nou their home and smash Barca, who get almost get a goal back late. That was incredible. West Ham showing European nous with the same 11 guys over and over and over again. That Declan Rice can walk, I don't understand. They win 3-0. Wow. At Lyon after drawing 1-1 in London. Then Rangers defeat Braga. Bragas have 2 men down. The Ibrox is bouncing. So Rangers we don't talk about a lot, but between Rangers and Celtic, Rangers fans are bananas. And RB Leipzig, probably the best team in this group, defeat Atalanta. Yeah. Atalanta, I don't think there are any Italian teams floating around. But wait, there's more in the Europa Conference League. Roma defeat Bodo Glimt finally 4-0 at home. Bodo Glimt had a win on the road in the Arctic Circle, but Roma do pull it out with Tammy Abraham. Leicester City go down a goal, then defeat PSV Eindhoven in their version of Operation Market Garden. Drink, it's a World War II reference. Feyenoord defeats Slavia Prague. So we've got a couple of, we lose a Dutch and gain a Dutch. Feyenoord defeat Slavia Prague after a 3-3 draw, but then they win 3-1 away. Slavia Prague, a lot of connections to West Ham. And then Marseille and our friend Dimitri Payet and Guendouzi defeat the Greek team PAOK. And that is where we stand. We've got 4 semifinals, an English team in the Conference League, an English team in a friend from the Premier League in West Ham in the Conference League. And in the Champions League, we have two in there too, because Chelsea almost pulled it out. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah. And it was so interesting you knew that Chelsea was going to come out of the blocks firing. They were down 3-1 going into the leg, right? So whatever usual Chelsea strategy you would have right out the window, right from Jump Street. You had to go in. They took 28 shots in this game, right? They had 57% possession. They were all over it, and they were up for it. Mason Mount was everywhere. I give him a lot of shit. He was really the engine for Chelsea. And Timo Werner, another player who I give a lot of shit to, albeit fairly, again, really starting to come good for the Blues. He assisted on Mount's early goal. He had what they thought was going to be the winner late. A very back and forth affair. I mean, so
only late. I think I would disagree. I think Chelsea completely dominated this game.
Oh no, yes.
And what has been happening with Real Madrid is they have this way of taking body blows, conserving, where you're watching them, especially in the PSG game, where they get beat.
Yeah.
And for 15 minutes, a moment happens, and they summon the energy of the collective age of the team. Somehow, Benzema pulls it out, or Modric turns back the clock, or something happens, and the team just finds a way. And even in the context of Benzema getting a goal in the 96th minute of extra time, Chelsea still mustered the strength in the end to almost pull it out.
Yeah, sure.
But the heart of the oligarch champions. I mean, if there is a Rushmore of football, Real Madrid are on it. I saw a graphic today that showed the 14 different times an English team has won the Champions League / European Cup. We've got the 2 from Nottingham Forest. Shockingly, I don't think everyone knows this, Aston Villa won the European Cup in 1982. Liverpool with their 6, United with their 2. And so, but in that context, Real have 13. They have one less of all of England. Now, they won the first 5. Those probably don't count because Europe did. No one
it's
knew
like
what
when
it meant.
the Yankees won a bunch without having black people, right?
yeah.
But yeah,
maybe they
fine,
paid
but
off the
even
rest.
take those out. Take those out.
That's still 8.
Still 8.
Yeah. So this is the oligarchs of football, Real Madrid finding a way
Proper
and going,
royalty.
You've got to kill them. This is very much a boxing analogy where the champ is not done until he's on the mat and the man counts 10.
Yeah.
Real Madrid were dead and buried in this game. Then the handball callback on the Alonso goal.
Huge.
Which in any other century, and I mean football has been around now we're in our 3rd century. In any other century, or any other decade, that would have been a goal because hand is the body. But we now have, in a goal moment, if the hand touches the ball in any way, shape, or form and assists in a goal being scored, it is chalked off. That would not have been wiped off any other time but now.
We've certainly wasted enough time on this show talking about controversial handballs in Champions League games between you and me. But a word real quick on this is that let's be very, very transparent about what happened and what almost happened. Had Alonso taken that touch, controlled it, and then passed it to Werner, who was right there, and Werner scored, the goal
would not have been a handball.
They would have never even looked at it.
Nope.
And I just...
It's laughable in a way.
It's so laughable. They just keep trying to get it right, and it's like quicksand for them. Every time they do something, they get more in their own way.
It's tough. It's really tough because you want to legislate it for the removal of this human element, but as the game becomes more professional, bigger, regional, betting is involved. You've got to. My assumption is that it's not about fair play. It's about covering the ass of gambling, where you don't allow for shenanigans, because there is a lot of shenanigans, especially for some of these smaller teams. Mm-hmm. And if you can have this level of, you can have the level of covering your ass with this VAR that's barely accurate, but at least you have it. You can sort of keep that sort of narrative away. Because listen, if you don't think that Juventus would fix a match so they could win, you're fucking wrong.
They did?
Because they have twice.
They have. But look, let's just go through the game, right? Because it's 2-0 when that happens, and it's the 63rd minute, and it is just, you've been there, I've been there. It's just such a gut punch.
Yeah.
When one of those puts or takes away a goal on or off the board, that goes against you. And you just have to, in a game where you're now level with Real Madrid, you're in the Bernabeu, after you're getting your shit kicked in at the bridge, you just feel like you got to the top of the mountain and you got kicked all the way back down, which is not necessarily true because you're still equal, right? All that goal took away was your advantage. You're still equal. You're still completely controlling the game. You
but
still
they did
have
score another before
to go
that
again.
time.
And then, and to Chelsea's credit, 13 minutes later, it's Werner again, man on the spot. Kovacic has the assist, but you're back again. You're back above Real Madrid. But as you said, until the ref hits 10, Real Madrid's, as long as there's one breath in their body, they're going to get off the mat and they're going to give you everything until the final whistle. And that's exactly what happened.
There was a couple things that happened that I called out. One was Camavinga coming on in both the PSG game and this game. Camavinga comes on for Cruz. And what he is 19 years old and runs like a deer. And all of a sudden, now you're freeing up Modric to do less of the running. He's still working. The thing that's amazing about Modric is he does what's necessary. Like he's there tracking back. He's there making tackles. He's here, there, and everywhere. This team finds the 20 minutes they need to win these games. They're like, we're not dead. We need 20 minutes. Let's go get this.
Let's go get it.
Then Modric, for you Spurs fans and for anyone, we know this is a guy who, when history looks back, is going to go, that guy won the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah.
And now it's going to make sense. He broke the oligarchy of Messi and Ronaldo and won the Ballon d'Or. And I didn't think it was worth it. But now I understand more about football.
Right. But the thing, it's Modric who sticks a needle in Chelsea's eye. What's more music to Spurs fans than that?
But it's off a turnover. It's off a mistake from Conte, a little late in the game, a little leggy. But it was quick thinking. Rodrigo had just come on.
Foot touch.
I know.
My God.
Amazing. Just fantastic. And then from there, Werner comes off. Pulisic comes on. He almost scores a couple goals. Mm-hmm. And then we go into extra time. So they just needed the one because Chelsea were down 3-1, but had come all the way back. We're level. We go into extra time.
And wait, before we do, it's important to note that at this stage, the no away goals rule comes into effect for the first year ever, or whatever, that they have changed the rule to the point where the away goals is no longer the tiebreaker.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had a game. This would have been over.
It would have been over. Mm-hmm. It would have been over. Chelsea wins.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
No, they both had 3 away goals.
Chelsea had 4, no? I'm sorry, Chelsea had 3. That's right.
Yeah, it would have been tied still.
It would have been, you're right. Okay, so yes, fair enough.
It was at 4-4.
Right, it was at the end. Yes. Yep. So then never mind. It would have still gone to full time, but as an anecdote, that also is no longer a thing for this season. But going into extra time, you've got to think that Chelsea, in the sense that we felt that heart of a champion in Real Madrid, you just wondered what Chelsea would have to bring to the table, and unfortunately for them, really, I mean, they weren't able to go a third time, right? Like they
almost did though.
Blow.
Like
but
Karim Benzema scores a goal. How they're not marking him is beyond me. Like there's
one
guy, like literally just follow him around. What are you doing?
I mean, and that's and Rudiger, who by the way, this point,
he had been great.
Rudiger to this point is having arguably the game of his life.
Yeah,
he is fantastic. Everywhere. Yeah. And I've been on this show. I've been very critical of Antonio Rudiger, namely last year when he basically KO'd Kevin De Bruyne. I'm the one who said I thought he should have been sent off. Blah blah. He had the best game of his life ever. And by the way, he scored a thunderbolt goal from 30 yards. No, it wasn't like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, he scores again in this game.
Yeah, on a header. Yeah,
and he's marking players ever. In this instance, he is the man marking Benzema. He slips. Benzema's got a free header, and it's over.
Yeah, but it was not. He still put it in with pace, and these are good goalkeepers. So,
it's Karim
so they score, and then Chelsea push, and then they make all their changes. They bring in Ziyech and Saul and Jorginho and try and find a way to get their penalty takers on if they can make it, but they don't get it. And I think Chelsea can feel we played great in this game and lost it at home.
Yeah,
and that's really what happened.
I think that's absolutely fair.
Chelsea were good. I'm, as a City fan on this side of the bracket, I was happy to see Chelsea go. I'm way, way, way less scared of Real Madrid. Like,
Sure.
I know they're the heart of a champion. They're not this good, right? They are. I'm trying to think of. They've got that 2001 Yankee vibe where it's like they're gonna lose, but everyone's gonna think they won, or they're like a late era. Like no one remembers the Diamondbacks won. Who cares, right? City basically are the Diamondbacks.
Good,
I'm a Diamondbacks fan. That feels terrible inside.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's where they are. Like Real Madrid get a dose and a testosterone shot of the old man with Viagra of, let me tell you who we are. We are this sport. This is our competition. The narrative is going to follow us. Regardless of what happens in later rounds, we're the standout team. We're the heroic team. Mm-hmm. Weirdly, they've put themselves in a situation where I think neutrals are going to root for them, right? Because Modric is really likable and Benzema's old and you've got Ancelotti and you're like, well, look, this team is dead and they're still doing it.
Ramos is the reason that everybody always hated them outright. Yeah. And he's not there.
Well, all the Barcelona people hate him. And then the Yankees.
But everybody hated Ramos, man. So I was like, you know what? All of a sudden, Real Madrid's kind of plucky and likable and all that. But look, here's the thing. Chelsea are not Manchester City. We've been saying this on the show all year long. No. And so what Chelsea did that I don't foresee Manchester City doing is giving up 3 goals at home, right? Like it was valiant.
Over two legs, City are not going to have a dud.
Well, that's the point, right? Like
City duds are we don't score and we give up 1.
Exactly. And so you have that heroic comeback from Chelsea. I'm not to say that City aren't capable of that. Of course they are. But at the same time, they're not going to put themselves in even as deep of a hole. I'm not going to say that they won't lose the first leg 1-0. I'm not going to say that. It's entirely possible. Yeah, but they won't have to dig themselves that deeply out of a hole. That's sort of a London club thing in the Champions League rounds.
Yeah. Where do you want to go, Villareal or then onto the shithousery?
We have to. Yeah.
Which one?
Well, we have to go to Villareal. And this is another one where, I mean, even more dominant of a display from Bayern. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. It was actually interesting that at halftime, because I kept tracking it because I wanted to bet on it. And then I got preoccupied.
Should we just call Villareal Tottenham South?
Yeah, sure.
South Tottenham?
Yeah. Southeast Tottenham. Yeah, I mean,
Foyth, Lo Celso. There's like North London represent.
Lo Celso.
I know Coquelin is Arsenal,
but Serge Aurier, for fuck's sake, like,
comes on late.
Are you kidding me? But no, I mean, Bayern, it is just like pelting them with shots. I think they had like 15 in the first half.
But they weren't.
Funny enough, Lewandowski didn't have one.
They weren't like the XG isn't crazy. I mean, it's 1.4 to half. Fine.
Right.
I wouldn't say that. I think over the 2 legs, you would not say that this was a dominant, like Bayern Munich got hard done. They simply didn't show up. Like they didn't have another way to play.
Well, look,
they didn't have creativity. Like it was weird. Like
you use the parallel of the size of the town relative to Burnley, right?
Yeah.
This was a quintessential Sean Dyche over 2 legs performance. That's really what you can only way you can describe it, right? Like, I mean, they snuck out of Spain with a 1-0 up, and God bless them, that was awesome, right? Gio Lo Celso, man of the match.
He was killer.
Get the fuck out of here with
that.
The
thing is, though, Burnley doesn't have a guy like Gio Lo Celso at all, and Pau Torres is literally a Spanish national who's playing center back for the Spanish national team. So, like, Villareal doesn't have scrubs. They have guys that are real guys.
In the Champions League, at this stage,
they're
akin to Burnley.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, relative to the competition and the levels that we're talking about, it's not like Burnley are fighting Norwich to stay up. Villareal are fighting Bayern Munich for a chance in the Champions League semifinal. So, I mean, but the stats bear out, right? Like 23-4 in shots, 68-32 possession for Bayern. You sort of knew that was coming. What you didn't know was coming was the late sucker punch by Villareal in the 88th minute.
But they deserved it. They've been doing that the whole...
Chukwueze, right?
Chukwueze, yeah. They've been doing that through the 2 legs. When they were on the break, they were way more dangerous than Bayern. What this Bayern reminded me of, and this is funny, it reminded me of early Pep City and 1920 City. When City lost their defender and Fernando wasn't in the field, they didn't have a method to prevent the break because they were too slow. And this was very like Nagelsmann is like, oh, this is what Pep would do, except he hasn't like moved on from what Pep really does, which is like no one's hitting us on the break ever.
Yeah.
The reason why you have these weird things that you're like, oh wow, it's so creative that the City left backs and fullbacks all push in to flood the midfield. That's so that when we lose the ball, there's 3 guys in the back. It's so that we're not wide all the time. The attackers are wide. And I don't think that Bayern got that message. So they were getting run on through the middle of the pitch, and the breaks were really strong. That's where your guy, Lo Celso, comes in. And then the other one is the Bournemouth championships. One of my sons, you know how I check on the championships. I knew about Danjuma way before. I was like 15-7 for Bournemouth. He's trying to get bought by Liverpool. Why the fuck is he in Villareal? Now we know why, because in the first leg he scored the goals. He was less excited in the second leg because Bayern was like, "Oh, let's stop Danjuma." This is a championship player who went to Villareal for $30 million and is in the semi-final of the fucking Champions League. This is if Mitrovic went to another team in Spain and is now in the final. Like,
can you imagine me? So Mitrovic is such a English player.
He's terrible in the Premier League, though. No.
Well, but he in La Liga, he would have 15 goals and 6 red cards without question.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's an Unai Emery special. I think Nagelsmann gets exposed as a 39-year-old coach, and he doesn't either they don't take the team seriously, like they literally openly cheered when they got Villareal in the draw, and that carried on. And they openly were very German. And by that, I mean this super honest, like, well, Villareal, a very small team. We have no problem. We put gasoline in our tanks and roll through the town. And that did not work because, as we've learned from Russia and Ukraine, Villareal is playing the role of the Ukrainians, and they have all the rockets that they could ever need. And Bayern Munich have been, I don't know what they're doing. It's definitely not the army that we expect.
So is Nagelsmann Putin then?
No, he's lower than Putin. He's like one of the bad generals.
He's one of the guys that's going to become an unperson.
Right. Who's like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to steal all the money. I thought we needed food.
Yeah.
I didn't know I needed to not sell the oil in the black market. Anyway, that is our current event.
Before we get to City, a quick note on Liverpool and Benfica. It's 3-3. It ends 6-4 on aggregate. It's really not much to do. It sounds like, oh, Liverpool got a scare put into them. Not really, though. They were in the driver's seat. They were up 6-2 on aggregate. They gave up 2 goals late to draw the match, but to win the tie. So they cruise as expected against Benfica. They'll face Villareal, which is, as we said about Bayern, the best matchup you could get. You certainly want that over Madrid or City. But yeah, I mean,
Liverpool did 9 changes from the City game, right?
Of course.
A City don't have 9 changes to make, right? Like none of the back 4, no Fabinho, no Salah, no Mane.
But when you go to Portugal and you put up 3 goals, now I'm not saying that Liverpool are better or worse than City or whatever. What I'm saying is they had an easier draw. Right, they took advantage of the first leg. And as a function of that, they, after a very harrowing experience at the Etihad on the weekend, they got to basically say, all right, foot off the gas on this one a little bit, right? And they got more than enough to get through. Their front 3 were still firing. Bobby Firmino was everywhere all of a sudden. He looked like fucking Pele. So, yeah, I mean,
they took the foot off the gas and they get a chance to really go into this FA Cup match rested, ready, and out for blood, right?
Yeah.
So City, we go to the less talked about this game, the better. First half was much like the first leg, except this time I think Atleti was like, we can't try and do nothing. Let's try and do something. So first half, it looks like Simeone literally played this as the way you would like an NFL game or a basketball game, thinking about, well, let's dominate this in the fourth quarter, by meaning let's dominate this in the second half of the second leg, and came out in the second half after City didn't score in the first half and just were like, we're blitzing your asses.
Yep.
And they just take over. City are suffering. City are getting kicked. In the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game, I believe Savic gets a yellow card. No, Felipe gets a yellow card in 24 minutes, nearly decapitating Phil Foden, and and that's the first card. There are no cards in the first half. The next card is in the 80th minute. So you can imagine Atleti at home, there's only 2 cards through the first 80 minutes.
Sharpening their elbows.
And they are just sharpening knives. By the time this game ends, Walker crawls off the pitch. De Bruyne is out in the 65th minute. Even Bernardo Silva's out of gas because City can't hang. Once Walker comes off, their speed, their tenacity, their Englishness disappears, and it is a war. Fernandinho comes in as the checking line. This is fucking Bob Probert at his best. This is Marty McSorley. He comes in. He's tackling everyone. He's getting behind people. People are running past him, but he's putting in a shift. Then Simeone's like, we're going to go fucking win this game. He brings on Cunha and Luis Suarez and City. When I say from the 82nd minute on, when Luis Suarez came on, this was a battle of attrition. Yep. This was all hands to the pump. City defending for their lives. Something as a City fan I'm completely unused to. City could not get control of this game. City could not manage it. They were in trouble. They were on the ropes. A better team beat City. I'm telling you. And for all the bullshit that Atletico do, they just couldn't finish. They really couldn't even get good shots on target. There was a great save from Ederson. Then very late on, Savic tries to kill Phil Foden again. He's got a blue bandage on his head. Phil Foden is off the pitch, decides to roll himself back on. Savic then grabs him, pulls him off the pitch. Zinchenko goes flying in. Everyone goes flying in. It's a big war. Savic gets a yellow, but in the melee, in the aftermath of this, Felipe, who committed the first foul, actually gets called for a red. I think it's an accumulation. Who knows what's going on? And I think to Atleti's detriment, this was a bad time to shithouse. City were in trouble. City were the ones wasting time. City were out Atleticoing. They were rolling around. They were holding on to the ball. Right. They were kicking it away. They were standing on it. They were doing all the tricks. I thought one thing that was interesting was that Pep stayed really calm. City players stayed mostly calm. There was an incredible moment where Foden's getting involved in the melee. He goes to Savic with his little wry fucking Peaky Blinders smile and goes, "You're a fucking cunt." And you can see Savic, it. I mean, it's clean as day. And Savic grabs his hair like a bitch. It was fantastic.
Grealish gets involved. Somebody grabs him by the back of the head. It was awesome. It was literally it was like incredible. watching like professional wrestling for like 15 to 20 minutes because nothing actually happened, but everything also happened, right?
But there were shots. There was this John Stones block off the line.
Well, yes, exactly. And that's the thing is that you had 9 minutes of extra time added on. And because part of this melee spilled into some of those 9 minutes, you had 13 minutes after the 90 to survive if you're City.
Brutal extra time. Just
Ederson,
heart and mouth. Yeah. Fear and loathing.
Would you say it was
a squeaky
bum time? Yes, I would say it was.
Very squeaky bum time.
Yeah.
But as a City fan, this is a performance, and the players showed it, that lifts the team. I mean, we can take anything. Now I said we. I never do this. City can handle this. There's nothing that we can't handle. That was about as hostile as you can get. That's Anfield at its worst. When I have seen City collapse and just get blitzed, it's happened. The 4-3 in the first leg, and I think 2018 was like this when City won the league going down the stretch. But City did not fold. They got a key save, which is one of the things that we didn't always get. And then John Stones, he won man of the match. I mean, if a City win a game and John Stones is man of the match, it's now when we call him Johnny Boulders. Because he's got big fucking balls.
I love that.
And that's the bad Mank joke. Johnny fucking Boulders. And he fucking holds on. And City do it their way. the Ake piece helps, even though John Stones, they have to switch Ake to the left side and Cancelo goes to the right. Unfortunately, all that extra time, Cancelo picks up a yellow. He's gonna miss the
That's right.
final. So
Yeah,
all
well,
this
the
extra
first
time
time.
actually did hurt City in the end.
Yeah, no, it
where
did. But I think the contrast as a neutral watching this was watching Atletico get served a healthy dose of their own medicine, and they weren't able to handle it at all, right?
No.
And like you said, it was an inopportune time to lose your head. If you have a PhD in shithousery, you need to be able to handle some.
Yes,
you had
otherwise,
9
what's the point?
Right.
If you can't if you can dish it out but can't handle it.
And to your point, also, I've also never seen Manchester City be, frankly, served and spoken to like that, frankly, in the last 20 minutes of this game.
We suffered, man. Suffered.
The weirdest thing is that, have we forgotten, Atletico was down a man the whole time. So you would have thought that at some point that City Foden would blitz down the wing, right?
They
like
were
something.
out of gas,
there would be
man.
an
They
outlet.
were out of gas. They
Yeah.
really were out of gas. And it's not what the team is built to do, right? We're not built to suffer like that. And that's why you had Ake and fucking Fernandinho come on, because City were then able to sort of play defensively, even though they really didn't have a way to really handle it. They did have final shots there. I thought, Gundogan shot one that almost that was a massive save by Oblak, and Mahrez had one blocked as well. But this was a big game for City. And now we get to go back to fucking Real, go back to Madrid and try and destroy the city's hopes by getting Real Madrid, which I think is frankly an easier game. Honestly, it's an easier game than playing Chelsea.
The first leg is at home, and I think that serves you well. But also, and we have given Pep a lot of shit for mismanaging games. Not only did he not fuck this up, I'd argue he won it, because he brought, like you said, he brought on the defenders. He sensed the game. He was able to tell, this is what this game needs right now. We just have to hold on for dear fucking life and get out of here. And they did. They were successful in doing that. So
and they had the goal. So even if they gave up one, they probably would have just hung on. I just loved seeing Fernandinho, who is a massive servant of the club, one of the City greats. He's probably just below statue level, but he takes the mantle from Vincent Kompany. He's not going to renew his contract. He is going to go back to Brazil. He really wants to play, and he sort of said that as almost an underhanded, like, I was so happy to be in this game. It feels great to play. And I think, he wants to get in these games, and he's not been able to, because he's 36 years old, but he is the heart and soul of this club. He is actually he's called the captain by all the Brazilian and Portuguese players. His home is the hub of all the Northwestern Brazilian players. They all go to Fernandinho if they need something. He's the guy who takes care of everybody. When there's a birthday party, he has it. It was a great anecdote I heard on a podcast. And it makes sense, because if you watch the All or Nothing infomercial for Manchester City that's on Amazon, it's Fernandinho who steps up and says what needs to be said when Vincent Kompany isn't around or is hurt, or there is a moment to call a players only meeting. It does come from Fernandinho, and he's loved by City fans. We all love Fernandinho, and he had this special trait of fouling people, picking them up and smiling and not getting calls on him. It's an amazing trait that hardly anyone has. So he's going to go down. He's part of the 2013-14 team that beat Liverpool. He's part of the Pellegrini team, and he's going to be, again, he's beaten Liverpool now 3 times, and he's going to do it one more time.
There you go. Is that a segue into the FA Cup semifinal?
I think that might be a segue into the FA Cup semifinal.
We have to do this again, friends. Last Sunday, we sweated through 2-2 at the Etihad. I always want to say Emirates. We do it again. It's a neutral site match at Wembley. I don't know that really works to either team's advantage.
It works to Liverpool's advantage because they have way more fans.
Yeah, but it's not Anfield. So
it's not Anfield. That is true. They won't throw bags of shit at the bus.
Right. I actually was at a Liverpool Spurs game at Wembley, and there were a lot of Liverpool fans in the sections they should not have been in. So yes, to your point. I think that
my mate Stanley.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Like you said, Liverpool were able to rotate a lot, so I think that going into this,
it's advantage Liverpool.
It is advantage Liverpool going into it. I don't know what City's going to look like on Saturday.
I think Pep tries to put the best team he can out there. There will be no Phil Foden. There will be no De Bruyne. There will be no Kyle Walker. Those are certainly not going to be there. I think you'll see Diaz play. He'll play with Ake. And then and maybe Stones plays in the back. Like maybe Stones plays right back, Ake left back. They may just play a weird lineup and try and hang on. I think you might see some of the kids play. I think you might see, I don't know if Cole Palmer's available. You might see some of these. I think will he want to win this game, but he's going to acknowledge that it might be a bridge too far.
Yeah, and I mean, look, at the end of the day, what you're looking at is an all-time race for the Premier League title. You're looking at a harrowing adventure in through the Champions League, which, by the way, let's understand something. The FA Cup is a wonderful trophy to win. The Premier League is a unbelievable trophy to win. For one club, there is a bigger prize still, right? For
Liverpool, it's the quadruple. I mean, I'm not even being funny. They have got about as good a chance as any team has ever had. Like the quadruple Manchester City thing, that was not the Centurions. That was not a high scoring last season. That was not a high scoring version of City. And, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was Pep's best team. They just happened to be on for it and had gotten deep into the Champions League.
Right.
This Liverpool team, with the depth that they have, where they can rest guys, if they get one of Salah or Mane back in full gear after the AFCON, after the Cup, after the full campaign of doing the CAF qualifications for the World Cup, if either of them can get to full gear, they have a real shot.
Sure.
Because I think right now their issue is Salah's not. He scored.
I was going to say
he's probably scored 20 goals through AFCON, and now he's at 23.
Right. He's at 20 flat. Right. Yeah. And so the interesting thing about that is that he has really fallen off. And if you think about it, he was the deciding penalty taker on two massive losses for his country. So you got to wonder how much that's affected him.
It's not physical; it's mental. It's
mental.
Can I?
No.
Can
I
I
think
sustain this? Right.
I think there's miles.
Yes.
Right. I think there's a lot of miles on those legs from previous seasons that are probably still now just starting to catch up to him. But as you said, now he was always able to stave off the physical piece, but the mental piece is really starting to wear on him. And you wonder if he can go again. But the thing is that Liverpool, their infinite wisdom, they were able to bring in Jota last year and Diaz this year. You're welcome. And so they and like I said, Firmino is going,
and Bobby Chompers, like he's still there. They can play a different way, which is even crazier. They're a much better team. I do think that the midfield, they're still a little bit light there. Like, sure, Henderson, Fabinho, but Thiago in a defensive game just gets exposed. He's great on a ball, but if he's not on a ball, he doesn't get around the pitch. And I don't think they trust Keita enough. He seems to get injured. So they have one weak spot. Then we know about the Trent defensive things. It's not that he's bad, it's just that in that team, he's where you go.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
We'll see what City can do. I reserve the right to think that my team's going to lose this game.
No, I think that's fair. That's fair. And I don't think I would either if I were in your position, right?
But when we talked 3 weeks ago about the City gauntlet of Atletico home, Liverpool home, Atleti away, and this is the final game of that group. I think City have come out of it okay, right? They didn't lose the Liverpool game, and they were able to squeak by Atleti with damage, but enough time. Like there's 2 weeks before the next Premier League game for City, right. I'm pretty sure. So hopefully the knocks and the damage and the bruises and the kicks and all the blood that was spilled and the cunts thrown and Savage in the tunnel spit at the fucking team.
That's right.
The cops
That's
in there.
Right. That's
it
right.
was just like, what is happening?
Yeah. Which at that point, spit at him. Whatever.
And then of course I think the Pied Piper of Hamlin, fucking the whole stadium just cheers Simeone. They're like, and after a loss, they're like, it's
Yeah. It was
Coliseum.
surreal, right?
I don't want to ever go through that again.
quick on the FA Cup, the other FA Cup semifinal, and then we'll go to the craziness in the Europa League.
Oh God,
Crystal Palace, you can do this. Chelsea are licking their wounds.
Not without Gallagher.
Oh shit, that's right. Damn it.
It's going to be the 35-year-old McCarthy. But the fun thing is maybe Vieira goes, okay, we don't have Gallagher, but we need some creativity. We're going to go Elise, Zaha, Eze, and just fucking go for it.
Oh.
So maybe they'll do 2 holders that are just like, we're just going to fucking sit deep in the middle and let these 3 crazy dreadlock, African British fucking grime core, fucking hardcore hip hop destroyers just go out there and get nuts.
Oh, that would be amazing. I have belief. I have more belief than when I started. I forgot about that.
Yeah. You're like,
that might be
Eze,
better.
Elise, Zaha, give me more.
Oh my God. Let me tie off real quick. That sounds
Give me those
amazing.
3, man. Give me them.
Oh,
I know that it doesn't really fit because they still need Morteta or Odard. They've got depth up front. That's a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea have played really well, but I've got to think they got a mental letdown right now where they're just like, we picked ourselves up in that Southampton game. We went to war at Real and ran out of gas and just ran into the real oligarchs of football, not of oil and petrol states, and just got beat. And now they have to face a fucking real upstart, real like a war for South London. I mean, Chelsea, Crystal Palace is like, this is street. This is like this is big for them. And Palace are good. Palace can win this. They're good enough.
As we said, the game's at Wembley. For Chelsea, that's not really a big thing. For Crystal Palace, they're going to Wembley. It's
across the street. Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
What we have to make sure of is that if they score a goal, there's no dance like Alan Pardew.
Oh God, I want it. I want all of it. But that is a great segue into the Europa League, into the
more madness,
into the Camp Nou. As we were talking before we started recording, Eintracht Frankfurt 4, Barcelona 3. They go through, and how do they do it? On the backs of their fans at the Camp Nou.
Amazing.
Barcelona president Laporta ashamed by the Eintracht fan presence at the Camp Nou. Now, they're only allocated 5,000 fans, right? Laurent, how many would you say that they had today?
25,000.
Oh, my God.
And Camp Nou, remember, 90,000 people in the Camp Nou and 25,000. Now, they never sell it out because COVID, because it's just too big, whatever. There's not that many people. And they need that tourist number, and I don't think there's as many tourists as they have been historically. Barcelona are like the super of the super clubs. So they don't get as many people. And there were tickets available, and Eintracht Frankfurt and Germany especially has had a lot of lockdown, has a lot of restriction on travel. Mm-hmm. The desire to get out and have an away day in Europe for Eintracht Frankfurt, a working class, like very weirdly originally working class, but now a banking town. Frankfurt is just ready to explode. I have a great story about Eintracht Frankfurt. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm going to call him Utbar. We are at one of our hooligan days in 2018 when Kostic, who became the Bayern coach, he wins the Pokal Cup against Bayern in the 95th minute. This guy is like a fireman. His English is bad. He's yelling, I'm ultra. And we're all there in our soccer hooligan day, just fake, dumb white American guys. This guy is... I watch it with him. I hug him. He smells like a European. His team wins. He's crying like a baby. I'm hugging him. I'm like, dude, I was here with you. That was amazing. And he's like, I'm ultra. I should be there. He like goes on holiday for the one time in his life with his wife, Claudia. And he's like, we made the final. And I'm here going to see stupid fake German people who are in Pennsylvania, white trash. But he's like doing an exchange thing. And he's like, I'm going to Pennsylvania tomorrow. What is happening? I need to be there. So all I could think of is that guy. He was definitely like an anti-anything that wasn't Frankfurt, Germany. Like this guy was clearly a stormtrooper in a former life. Like this guy was we were worried. We were like, you know what? Fuck it. Today's the day. We traded shirts. And then I was like, I can't take your shirt. I'll give it back to you. So it was an amazing game. So all I ever think about when I think of Eintracht Frankfurt is that guy. And so I know he was there. I know he was drumming. And by the way, Barcelona got beat easily. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was not close.
It was
They
3-0.
were bad in the first leg. They got lucky in the first leg to get the draw. And Frankfurt is not kicking ass in the Bundesliga. They're like 7th. But there is one thing about Bundesliga teams. They're athletic. They all play the same way, high intensity on the break.
Mm-hmm.
And if is one thing that Barca does not like is athleticism and people in their face. Because yes, they want the ball. Yes, they can play it. But their primary holding midfielder is still Busquets. And if you get past him, you're gone.
Yep.
Because he can't keep up with you. And their
He's
defense
an
is
aircraft
still
carrier.
Piqué, and it's still Serginho Dest, not a good defender. They're still old. They still have problems. When they lose the ball, they are in trouble. And the breaks by Frankfurt are fucking incredible. There are really good goals. That flying down the wing, like nice touches, back out to the other guy who makes the run. They just beat Barcelona with no problem, especially when they had 25,000 of their own fans in the Camp Nou.
You have to catch just the sight of the highlights. You can tell. You're like, oh my God, where are we? Where is this game? It's pretty wild. It's
a whiteout. They're all wearing white.
It's amazing. And so they're through to the semifinal. West Ham make easy work of Lyon, and our friends from East London are in.
Let's fucking go!
3 goals, pretty much almost on succession. Craig Dawson, and then Declan Rice and Jared, your friend Jared Bowen,
my friend, one of my sons from the championship.
Each side of halftime, and they're away. They're gone. In the first leg, Tanguy and Ndombele had a great match and scored to get an equalizer for Lyon and kind of bring them equal. But there was just nothing to be done today. So full marks to the Hammers.
So West Ham, one of the more famous supported clubs, more famous for the ICF, more famous for Green Street Hooligans, more famous for Cass, the famous British African. He's English, but he was a black guy from East London, famously had a biopic about him, more about the hooliganism. But West Ham represents something deeper in British football than any other team. They're the Academy of Football. Half of their team was in the 1966 World Cup squad. Yes, they've never won the championship, and this is the furthest they've gone since 1976 when they were in the Intercolo Cup, whatever. But what we have to keep in mind is think of the Bowery Boys of television from 1950. Think of it staying that way forever, and think of there being a team from the Lower East Side, and that's what West Ham is.
Yep.
But if there was a stadium in the fucking collect pond where the 5 points met, that is West Ham if the Chinese had never showed up and it was still Irish. That is what West Ham represents. They are the streets of the streets. Like, it's hardcore East London, like the real deal. They have a rivalry with Millwall, which is not a football game. It is a nice
It's just
fight.
A brawl. Yeah.
And so, we have West Ham and their fans in Europe for a semifinal against Frankfurt. That is going to be insane. When they go to the London Stadium, and these English folks, I think there's a lot of West Ham fans. There's not 50,000 of them to fill that stadium. That shit's going to be half German, and it's going to be the Blitz all over again, and there's going to be fucking Stukas and dive bombers and all the noises, and get the fucking press ready because the Germans are invading again. Because when Frankfurt played, I believe they played, or a German team did play Arsenal, they literally invaded the Emirates. It happens. The Germans have really good support, and they're very wealthy because they have a well-run country. So they travel and they don't care, and they have days off because they have unions. Anyway, we can argue about that another day. But they will be there. They will be there and in force. So we have Eintracht Frankfurt, who we went through against Barcelona. We have West Ham. I mean, these are great supported teams. And then we have more class on the other side in RB Leipzig. A hated team mostly. I don't think anyone loves them too much.
Dispatching our beloved Atalanta, which creates. Well, you mentioned Roma in the Conference League.
Oh, I forgot about Rangers. Excuse me.
Rangers. We'll get to Rangers in a second, but there's now no Italian teams left, and I think there was only one in the semis of either competition.
Yeah, so they've been suffering. The league
real
is
tough
really
year
having
for the
a hard
Italians.
time.
But yeah, I mean, Leipzig gets through 2-0, 3-1 on aggregate. But so they'll be facing Rangers, who snuck past Braga with a 3-1 win today. I mean, they were down 2-0 going, or 1-0 going into this leg, right? So
but you knew at the Ibrox, if you want to talk about fans traveling well, there's no way that Rangers will, if they draw in Leipzig, they're winning at home. I don't care how good Leipzig are.
Yeah,
there's no way the Germans are ready for fucking Ibrox night games against Rangers. I think you have a very good chance of a final being like Rangers versus West Ham. I think the thing that's interesting about this is I don't think that was Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League and dropped down. I'd have to check. No, they never
was
were.
not. Leipzig was, but
so
Frankfurt
you have
was not.
so here's what you have. You only have one team that dropped from the Champions League making it. That never happened.
Into the semis, yeah.
Yeah. So there's only one team that's really supposedly better than these teams. And Leipzig had a coaching change midseason. Our friend Jesse Marsh, who's doing well with Leeds,
our buddy,
coach.
Friend of the show, Shari, actually had the point, and he was like, that coaching change was the rare good for both sides, because Leeds, Jesse Marsh landed on his feet with Leeds, and he's brought them from back
relegation,
to safety,
maybe.
And RB Leipzig have turned their season around as well. So it's a very interesting dynamic that it worked out both for Marsh and for Leipzig.
I mean, of the 4 teams, you've got 3 that have like historic
blue blood,
like of the if it's not the aristocracy, it's definitely the princes and dukes of football. Your Eintrachts, your Rangers, your West Hams. This is a Rangers team that has the DNA of a team that went undefeated just 2 years ago. So it's not a bad Rangers team. Yes, most of them are championship level players. There probably are a couple who might get out of that. But I mean, it's Kenmar Roof. I mean, this is not a killer team.
Sure.
But again, really good stuff. Really excited. Europa League. I'll give one quick short shift to the Europa Conference.
Go for it.
We talked about it for a second, but Leicester are through to a semifinal. They didn't even know this championship existed.
They had no clue.
And they're very happy it exists because their season has meaning. We're all looking for meaning. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. He looked for love within the camps in World War II. I'm making literary references. It sounds funnier that way. But Leicester moved through. They beat Eindhoven. And then Roma and Bodo Glimt's Arctic Circle journeys. They do go home with a great day where they beat Roma 2-1. But Jose Mourinho is going to try and win this stupid fucking Europa Conference League so he can say he won something.
Yep,
he's going to go hell for fucking leather to win this goddamn thing.
Yep.
So he's in the semifinal. I don't know what the matchups are. It's Marseille, Feyenoord, Leicester, and Roma. I don't know who plays who. Marseille are very good. Weirdly, a couple friends from the Premier League, Payet and
still there, yeah.
Guendouzi is like young player of the year in France, which is incredible. But they are cruising. Feyenoord, I don't know much about. Slavia Prague, I only know about because West Ham rated them and has half their players in Kufal and Souček.
Yeah.
When they got this far, they called Souček to be like, "Hey, you're part of the team."
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God. What do we have left? God, we got 3 minutes to talk about the actual Premier League, which is still going.
The good news is we've got Tottenham, Brighton, and literally nothing. So all the big cats are pretty much off this week. West Ham are facing Burnley in a battle of the Claret and Blues on Sunday. But other than that, a bunch of fart noises around the grounds.
Big one, though, if we let's not give short shrift to our friends at Arsenal. They need this game. If there's a must win for them, they've got to get off the schneid. Get back at Southampton after their 6 getting dropped on them. Now, they are away. They do go away to Southampton. I know all the Arsenal fans know that this is a game they typically yak. They're not in a good way right now. Southampton will be licking their wounds. I'm sure Hasenhuttl will have them playing. It looks like a draw to me. This Watford game, if they want to get out of the bottom 3, it doesn't look like they have a shot. But if they want it, they've got to beat Brentford. But Brentford are on a 4 out of 5 winning streak.
Brentford's not getting touched. I mean, look, you've got and please, knocking on wood when I say this, a healthy Christian Eriksen feeding Ivan Toney. They're going to be miles past Watford, even though it's at Vicarage Road. To your point, I didn't mention Southampton Arsenal because I actually have enough respect for Arsenal that I think they'll pull out of this nosedive. To be fair to them, they did. I mean, they've lost 3 out of 4, right? They've lost to Liverpool. They've lost to a really pesky Crystal Palace team. And they lost a game that by all means, they probably should have won against Brighton. So their demise is being greatly exaggerated, I think.
Where they're
and I think
probably
this
where
is
they should be, honestly.
right. But here's the problem. They absolutely need this game because after this, immediately, Chelsea away, Arsenal, Man United at home, West Ham away, Leeds at home, Tottenham away.
Yeah, it gets tough for them.
So
I
you
do
absolutely need these
have
3
a
points.
take. Are you ready for my take?
Go for your take. Go.
I think Norwich gets something out of this United game. I think United are fucking completely cooked. Norwich coming off a win.
We didn't even get to the story that Cristiano Ronaldo shit canned the idea of grabbing Conte as a coach.
Dude,
Are you kidding?
That is coming out of United. It's in the local press, which means it comes from the club. They are just trying to distance themselves. They're trying to distance themselves from that poor decision, trying to pin it on Ronaldo, and they're going to fucking run from his ass. The second they can, they're ditching him. He's not coming back next season. He probably won't even play for the rest of the season. All I'm saying is that team is in complete free fall. They have nothing to play for. They hate each other. They're sniping at each other. There's no connection in that club whatsoever to anything. They're going to drop this game and
interesting. I think I've got I'll take
and
it.
I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray that they stand up and show themselves versus Liverpool after they got their fucking teeth kicked in. They're going to go to Anfield on Tuesday. We'll talk about it more on Monday. They have to show up to that game. That is a mandate and a moment that Manchester United will become a watershed. They got to show up in that game. Like there's no, like it is a pride. It is a, are we professionals game? If they get killed by 5 against Anfield at that game, there might be people who can't go back to the stadium.
since real quick on United, since they played on February 23rd against Atletico Madrid, the only game they won out of 2, 4, 6, 7 was against Spurs at home, that 3-2 game.
I don't know how the fuck they won that game.
And they didn't deserve to win that game. So yeah, you've got, I mean, shit. It's been a month and a half, almost 2 months where they've won 1 game.
Yeah,
so
it's bad. It's bad. All right. It looks like the clock is ticking.
So much in that episode. We got to go home. We got to get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortuines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network, and we're sorry that we delete episodes back accidentally. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And the Fan Hub Network in the UK out of Bristol. Respect to all the UK people. We love you. Thank you. Please share. And good night. We love you.